Taylor Bethel Park. This is me, Amy Taylor, and I'm here with a very special edition of Healthy Fit and Strong. With us today, we have Mr. Eric McElveny. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We're so excited to have you here and to tell your tale. Eric is a Marine. He is a triathlete winner, and he is also a doting, loving husband and dad. Can you talk to us a little bit about who you are and your military background?
Yes, of course. My military background actually starts back in the 8th grade. That's when I decided I wanted to be a Marine.
No, you didn't.
It was from a homework assignment. I had to do a career research report, did it on the Marine Corps, and I knew like that was it. I needed to be a Marine.
So your teacher said, write on what you want to be.
Yes, and you weren't allowed to be a professional athlete. So there goes my first 10 choices, right?
Okay, okay.
And my dad recommended the military. The Marine Corps had the best commercials on television, so I did it on the Marine Corps, and you just learn about the history and the sacrifice and serving a purpose larger than yourself. I wanted to do that, so I decided I was going to be a Marine. Grew up, I went to the United States Naval Academy, which was great. It was challenging. It was hard. 4 years. I did a year of prep school, 4 years at the Naval Academy, played some rugby there, met my wife. My wife was, we were both mechanical engineering majors, and we actually sat next to each other in class at some point, and we were passing notes back and forth. Imagine that, like we're in elementary. It was kind of funny. We try not to get caught by the teacher, but
That's so sweet.
yeah, we graduated, and we started our family, got married, and started our military careers. Her in the Navy and myself in the Marine Corps.
Wow. Were you stationed together?
Kind of. The Navy and Marine Corps, they didn't have to put us together. But I was the first one that was going to get stationed, and I asked, my senior ranking Marines that were going to place me. I said, hey, I have a wife and a daughter. If my wife can probably definitely get to San Diego because there's a lot of Navy options there, can you help me get to Pendleton? And he's like, yeah. And that's one thing that I realized in the military and in the Marine Corps is we look out for each other, and he looked out for me, making sure that my wife and I could be close enough to live in the same house, and we did. So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how long were you in the military for?
So I was a Marine for 6 years and 11 months. Sometimes I want to say 7, but I don't want to cheat at a month,
Okay.
right? But I did, my wife and I, we did 5 overseas deployments.
Where at?
I did 3. 2 of them were shipboard, where we were just a force in readiness, went to a bunch of different countries, did a lot of training.
What is a force in readiness?
So there's always a Navy Marine Corps team out there floating around ready for, if a hurricane hits somewhere, then they can go and help out. Or if a war starts, they're there within 24 hours. So there's, and it's like a rotating thing. And we stop in different ports and do training exercises with foreign militaries, or we stop and we help build schools. It's just, when someone asks me like, hey, what do you do as a Marine? It's simple. It's like we help people, whether it's providing security or safety or helping build something or helping train a force. It was just wherever we were helping people, and I enjoyed those deployments. I did 2 of those. She did basically 2 of those, and then I did a deployment to Afghanistan. It was our last one.
Last deployment.
Yes.
And after that, you were supposed to be sent home?
Yeah. It was actually kind of a volunteer gig, a volunteer deployment, because I did my 2 deployments. I was in the infantry, and then I was on it's called a shore duty billet, where it's that was crazy. Did 2 deployments, did a lot of training, gone away from home a lot. Now for 3 years you're going to be doing this job. And I was training young Marines out of boot camp, and an opportunity came up to go back and join my old battalion and go to Afghanistan. And it's something I wanted to do, and my wife supported me, so I went and did it. So I went to Afghanistan.
What made you want to do that, other than your desire to help people?
It's...
Because it's dangerous there.
It is, but at that time, so I graduated the Naval Academy in 2006 and became a Marine. And I did 2 deployments all over the world, but I had a lot of really close friends that went straight to Iraq or Afghanistan, and that's what we trained to do. We trained for combat, and our country was at war at that time. And I was trained. I was extremely trained and ready to go, and when that opportunity was there, I jumped on it, and I went for it. And I'm grateful that I had that chance to answer the call.
And what did you do over there?
So I had a pretty cool job. I led a small team of 4 guys, and we embedded into an Afghan Army infantry company. And our job was to train and mentor them during combat operations. So there's about 120 soldiers, and we lived with them, ate with them, patrolled with them, and tried to get them operating in a way that they can continue to protect their country. And we were operating for about 3.5 months. And on December 9th in 2011, that's when I was in Afghanistan, I was injured. I stepped on an IED, an improvised explosive device.
Is that like a landmine?
Basically, I stepped on it. There was an explosion underneath my right foot, and that led to the amputation of my right leg, just some other small injuries.
So you stepped on this landmine.
Yep.
You were thrown back. Were you conscious?
Yeah, so I stepped on the IED, and I was conscious throughout, but I was dazed at first. Like, I remember everything, and I remember not knowing what was going on because I had a concussion as well. So it was just a violent force threw me to the ground onto my back. Ears were ringing. Life was in slow motion. I remember trying to figure things out in my mind, slowly like getting things to me, and I realized like I'm in Afghanistan. I'm laying on my back. I was staring into the sky, and like a second earlier, it's a beautiful blue sky. Now it was full of smoke and dust, and that's when it kind of hit me like, oh my goodness, I just stepped on an IED.
Did you know that you'd stepped on it, or did you think you'd been fired at? Or
Yeah, I knew it was an IED
Okay.
because of where we were, and in just like the 3 days prior to that, we had found I think 13 IEDs, and it was just the weapon that we saw all the time. So when I realized that there was this explosion, this has happened, I'm on the ground, I was like, it's an IED. I just stepped on an IED. And the worst went into my head because I knew I was bleeding pretty high up on my
how
leg.
did you know?
Well, I felt wetness on my left leg. I lost my right leg, but I felt I have a injury on my left leg too, and it was up above my knee. And so I thought that I had just lost both legs real high, and I thought I was going to bleed to death. And I still didn't feel pain. So like I thought this could be it. And I remember the 2 thoughts that went through my head. And the first one was, I get to go to heaven. And it wasn't scary. Like, I don't know if I prepared myself for this, but I'm a Christian.
You're a very religious person.
And heaven is an amazing place, and it's like, okay, this is going to happen. And then I remember picturing my wife and my daughter Lupe's face. I remember picturing their face and getting scared. There were still things on this earth I wanted to do. And at that point, which felt like 2 hours of time, it was only 12 seconds, my corpsman came running up to me and saved my life.
How so?
He started treating me. Just what he did, I ended up with, he put a tourniquet on. And I ended up with 2 tourniquets on one leg, 1 tourniquet on the other, and he wrapped and splinted my leg so quickly. And the Marines in the area, I just went into action. A helicopter, which was already spinning somewhere, was called to our zone immediately. It got there. Another Marine, as they were getting me out of there, stepped on an IED. So like, this stinks,
Getting to you.
As he was actually clearing a place for a helicopter to land, he stepped on an IED. He lost his left leg below the knee, and he's doing well now. Matthew Miller, now Staff Sergeant Miller, still a Marine. Pretty cool, but just a chaotic situation. And the Marines, I'm so grateful for who they are and who they were, and the training that they went through, and how hard they worked to get me out of there and into surgery within 40 minutes, which is very fast, and that's what really saved my life.
You Marines are tough. Wow.
Well, thank you.
So they took you to the hospital, immediately did surgery on you, and then what?
And then started the trip home. So
They shipped you right home?
Basically, so I went to a surgical facility on the front lines, 7 minutes flight from
American
where I
or
was.
Afghanistan?
American.
So they're all American surgeons and things.
Yeah, so went there, then I woke up in a different one after that first surgery, and then one more place, Bagram, Afghanistan, then to Germany, then through Walter Reed, Bethesda, then, I don't even know, some hospital in Central California, and then down to San Diego, that's where I did my recovery. And that took 6 days to get from Afghanistan back to the hospital that I would do my recovery in. I lived in San Diego at that time, so my wife and daughter and my parents had flown out there. And
Were they waiting for you at the hospital?
Kind of. Like they were there. I thought that, you know, I got settled in. Like I remember being bussed in. I'll never forget driving. I was in a bus in a stretcher, looking out of the road, and I hadn't seen asphalt for 3.5 months. You know, it was crazy. And I just remember seeing people in their car, like going to work, and thinking to myself, "Wow, this is like, people don't realize that their men are over in war right now." And I'm not mad about it. It's just like two totally crazy different worlds. But we went to the hospital, got set up, and after, I don't know, half an hour or so, they came into the room.
And what was that like?
It was funny.
How? What do you mean it was funny?
So at first it
Funny
was...
to you or funny to them?
Thinking about it, probably me.
Okay.
Thinking about it, I mean, it makes sense. Like it was, no one wanted to really like, I don't know, talk about the elephant in the room. It's like, oh yeah, it's a nice day out here in San Diego. The weather's good. It's like, oh, you look great, you know, this, that. And then Lupe comes in.
And Lupe was how old?
She was 5 years old. She was in kindergarten. She sees me. She runs up to my hospital bed. She jumps up. She's just happy to see Dad. She's like looking at the bandages, looking around. She's like, "Dad, you have a television in your room. Can we set up the Wii and play Wii Mario?" And I'm like, "Wow, I didn't know we had a Wii. That was new since I left." But I'm like, "Yes." But when she did that, and she looked at me the exact same way that she used to look at me, that's when I was like, okay, maybe I'm not different. Maybe this is, and that's what opened up everyone else. Everyone else saw this, and it just like, the tension in the room just left, and everyone's like, okay, he's still Eric, he's still good. Like, this is we're gonna be okay.
Mm-hmm. And what did your wife Rachel say?
She was just an absolute rock during this process. Yeah, she had to handle a lot. And I wasn't easy to handle. I was in and out of surgeries. I was yelling. I was grumpy. Some days I was good, but it was tough. But she just stayed strong, and she had these expectations of me of still being dad, still being husband. That, you know, I wasn't sure. You know, there was a lot of fear of the unknown. Like, can I still do all this? And she's like, heck yeah, you can. I don't know where I would be without her.
Mm-hmm. And how long after that did you go home?
So I went home. It was about 3 weeks of being inpatient at the hospital because I went through, I think 5 surgeries total. I got worse before I got better. There was a point where there was infection and they couldn't get it to I don't know. I ended up getting like a blood transfusion, and then after that things started going in a good direction, and I started physical therapy, and like I had to show them that I can go up and down stairs in order for them to let me go home. And yeah, we got to that point at like week 3.
And how close to Christmas was that?
It was, so December 9th was the injury.
What do you call it? Injury?
Okay. Sometimes I call it my ampuversary. Yeah.
Okay, ampuversary.
Or some people call it Live Day. I don't know.
Okay.
But it's a big day. December 9th, I celebrate it now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I was injured December 9th. I was in the hospital over Christmas, which was good, and I think the start of the new year is when I got to go home for the first time.
But I remember you saying that your daughter was excited because Daddy was home for Christmas.
Yeah, and that was big. And my wife told her what had happened. Like, Daddy got hurt at work. Daddy lost one of his legs, and he's coming home. We need to be there to support him. And Lupe's response, you know, after like processing this, you know, a little 5-year-old was like, "When is Daddy coming home?" And my wife is like, "He's gonna be home in about a week." And I don't know, she did the math or whatever, but she's like, "Daddy's gonna be home for Christmas?" And that was it. And I love that because
I love it so much.
Well, it was such a negative event for like people like grown-ups, you know. But a little 5-year-old pulled something positive from it.
Yeah.
And you know, that's the type of person that I want to be. I want to
be
think
just
like a
your
kid.
daughter when you get older.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we have to revert back to that sometimes because we get away
really
from it.
Sweet.
Try to find the silver lining and kind of the positive in different parts of our life.
And I know there was a story that you shared about you with your placard, your wheelchair placard,
My
handicap placard.
Yeah.
Can you tell the viewers at home a little bit about that?
Yeah.
I love this story.
Well, up front, after I was injured, I ended up setting a goal to run an Ironman triathlon.
Okay, well that's everybody does.
Yes, I figure like that's the next step. Well, I needed something big, but I had started racing and started training and getting into this, and you know, prosthetically, I have different legs. I have a run leg, a bike leg. I've a leg that I can swim in, and my walking leg, and just I have all that. And this was probably almost a year after my injury. So the story starts is I was given a handicap placard, and I didn't want it. I didn't want to be handicapped at that point in time in my life, and I threw it away. And for some reason, I got another one in the mail, so I kept it because I'm like, I think I need this. So I started using it, and I used it once when she was in the car with me. We were actually in my truck.
How old was she?
So she was probably a year older, six years old.
6-year-old Lupe.
And we pull into it was a grocery store. There's no parking anywhere, so I zip to the front of the store, pull into my handicap spot, and grab my placard, and I hang it up, and I'm like, Lupe, let's go. And we get out of my truck, and we start walking into the store, and she says, Dad, what was that Magic Blue ticket? And I'm like, oh, that because Daddy only has one leg, I'm allowed to park in that spot when I use that Magic Blue ticket. And without missing a beat, she says, but Dad, you have 5 legs. You have a running leg, a biking leg, a water leg, a walking leg, and your left leg. and I thought that was kind of funny. I'm like, yeah, you little brat. And we're walking through the store, you know. And I was feeling guilty. Like, I have nothing against handicap parking, right? But I was training for an Ironman triathlon. I had just run 6 miles, and I realized like I was using my leg as an excuse when it was convenient for me. And it wasn't just with parking, it was with other things in my life. And that day, walking through the store, I decided I'm never going to use this stupid leg as an excuse again. And it starts with Lupe.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an amazing story.
Well, thank you.
I love it so much. And then how long before you ran your first? Because I see there's several here.
Oh yeah, there's a couple. I got into this triathlon thing.
Talk to us about the medals.
Yeah, so I set a goal to run an Ironman triathlon, and it was pretty neat. I had just an amazing team of people that helped get me up and going. Ran my first sprint triathlon 8 months after the injury. It was faster than I thought, and it was because I had this team of doctors and physical therapists and my practitioner, my family. I just had so much support that I ran 3 triathlons and a marathon within the first year. And then 22 months after the injury, I got to go out to Kona, Hawaii, and compete at the Ironman World Championships on a team with Heinz Ward. Like, it was a pretty cool deal. But that's what this one is. This is finishing that race. And I ended up finishing. It was not easy. It was not easy. But coming across that finish line in 11 hours and 54 minutes. And an Ironman, you swim 2.4 miles, you bike 112 miles, and then you run a marathon, 26.2. So it's a long day. But so that's why like
Hold this
these
one up for the camera so that we can see.
these 8 in front of me. I don't know, I think there's 8. Is it 8? Well, there's one got mixed in with the other. Oh, there we go. These are all Ironman races, and these ones are half Ironmans and other races and stuff. But these are cool. It's just such a long day, and you learn a lot about yourself. And working up to it, it's just I love the
a couple of the other
training.
ones and just tell us where they're from.
This is from Canada. I raced in Whistler, Canada. It was a cold day. I have 4 from Arizona. It was a convenient race, good for spectators because my family got to go and see me.
Oh, yeah.
And so I did 4 Arizonas. Ironman Boulder, that's Boulder, Colorado. That was a tough one too. This is kind of this is my best race. I ran 10 hours and 20 minutes, and I finished 60th out of 2,000 people, and this is like able-bodied athletes. So like
That was going to be my next question.
I was pretty proud of this. I had a good day, but I wasn't happy with it that day. And this taught me something because I'm chasing down a 9:57 because there's an amputee, Rivaldo Martins, who's an amazing guy from Brazil, who back in 2005 ran an Ironman in 9 hours and 57 minutes. So I've been kind of chasing that down, and I thought it was going to be this day. And I had the best race of my life, 10:20, which was just awesome for that day and that race. And I didn't enjoy it because I was so focused on someone else's achievement instead of mine. And since then, I realized, like, I got to stay in my lane and just watch myself progress. Like, yeah, there's other times out there, and as long as I continue to enjoy the sport and keep progressing myself, like, we'll get to those other times. But you got to enjoy it.
I want to talk to the viewers at home. How many Ironman triathlons have you guys competed in? How many of you succeeded in and did very well in? And then let's look at Eric and all these medals and all these awards and all these accomplishments. I'm in absolute awe. I'm in absolute awe. And what are those medals over there for?
So there's some other things. Recently, I had the just absolute privilege, and this was bigger than I thought it was going to be. But I started racing in the paratriathlon events to try to qualify for Team USA for the Paralympics in Tokyo. And I just got to race.
Hold any of them up for the camera.
Yeah, I don't even know which are which here, and which ones.
Did
are
you
the
go to
good ones.
Tokyo?
I did. So I got to race in Portugal and Spain and Australia and England, France, a couple in the U.S., and I barely qualified. There were 10 athletes in my sports class
All athletes?
from all around the world.
No, I mean they're not.
No. Of below knee or
Yes.
above elbow impairment, because there's different categories of disability. So in the Paralympics, starts a month after the Olympics, and it's anyone with a disability in the sports. And in paratriathlon, there's 6 different categories of disability. So I fall into PTS4, and there were 10 athletes in the world that qualified, and I qualified, and it was just an amazing ride. I don't have a gold or a silver or a bronze medal though. I got 6th place. But still, it was such an experience, and now it's motivation to try to qualify for Paris so my wife can go to Paris.
When's Paris?
Yeah, so 2024, that's where the Olympics and Paralympics will be held in Paris, France, and I'm going to try to qualify
wow.
and hopefully get like a better medal, like a gold or a silver.
So you're training currently.
Oh yeah, I love
You're
training.
swimming, biking, running.
Yep, every day. Today I swam and biked, and I still have to run. I still have a 40-minute run.
You'll do that yet today?
Yes. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. It's fun.
What's your favorite one of them all?
I think I'd probably have to go back to that first one. Just this experience. I didn't know if I could finish this thing. And it felt almost impossible when I set that goal. And I was thinking like a kid. It inspired me thinking about it. So I guess when I look at this, I just think of those early days of like, can I really finish an Ironman? I only have one leg. Like, how's this going to work? And just the team of people coming around me and like us figuring this out and getting to the finish line. And I don't know. This is racing. It's triathlon, but setting goals and moving forward and succeeding, like that's in all aspects of all of our lives. So
Sure.
it really, it's, set a goal. If you don't have a goal, set a goal. Think like a kid. Set a big goal that inspires you and figure it out. And it's the most rewarding thing coming across that finish line and doing that.
Words of inspiration. I really love it so much. You brought a friend with you today.
Oh, I did.
Let's talk about your friend.
Yeah, I haven't really named him. This friend is actually brand new. I was just in San Diego getting this. This is my socket for my running leg. So this is the blade that I run in. This is what you put onto the socket, but this socket has to fit so perfect. And you don't just go to your prosthetic practitioner, get a leg and say, hey, have a good life. It's something that needs adjusted, and you need new ones, and especially with the miles that I do, it's almost a yearly thing that I go and try to get a new leg or some updates or the best technology.
And when you say you have to go get a new leg, where do you go for this?
So I still see my prosthetic practitioner from San Diego.
Okay, you go to San Diego to get your legs.
Yep.
Is that the best leg place around?
It's a very personal thing.
Okay.
And the whole doctor patient thing, and he's known my leg. He knows I have some hot spots and this and that. And when I moved from San Diego to Pittsburgh, I decided I'm gonna stay with him. If I need something, I'll make the effort to get out there. It's always a good excuse to go to San Diego. So yeah, I fly out there. I'm sure that there's amazing
I didn't know if it was a military doctor, and that's why you flew out
It
there.
helps. It's like through the VA. So the VA has supported me.
Has the VA been good to you?
They really have. They've supported me very well.
In what aspects?
When I first started racing, I had to go in and ask, because they pay for my leg, and I had to go in and ask if I can get a running blade and a socket to go on it. And I was like, yeah, I got this Ironman thing that I'm trying to do. I could probably do it in this leg, but it'd be much better if I had this. And the doctor there was like, no, you're setting the example for what we want our veterans to do. we'll get you a leg, and they've continued to support me like through sports.
Do they buy your swimming legs, your running legs, your hopping legs, your skipping legs?
Yeah, and I don't. Yeah, I do have a lot of cool legs, and I try not to over ask. Like what I need to, and what will really help me in what I do, and to try to get to France is just a running leg and a biking leg. We swim without a leg, so I have like an old sock. If I go to the Y to play with my kids or something, or if I go to the beach, I just wear this old socket and old leg into the water.
Is it waterproof?
It kind of. There's
Is that what makes a swimming leg? It's waterproof?
Basically. There's
Okay.
a few screws on there that could rust, but you just take care of it. Yeah, some WD-40 on your
So
leg.
what makes the difference between a running leg and, say, a biking leg?
So a biking leg is a lot like my normal leg. It would just come down. Can I do that? Can I take my leg off?
Absolutely. This is your show.
Yeah. I'll just really quickly.
Can you, yeah,
Yeah, sure.
show us how it's done. Can you pull it up here?
Yeah. I can take it off real easily, and then look, oh my goodness, I got another leg. So this is like my everyday walking leg, and this is actually an athletic foot. It's Oser foot, where I can, if I'm gonna like play some basketball or something, I can just do it in this. It's pretty cool. I like this leg, and it's simple. There's nothing electronic or anything on it. My biking leg is a lot like this, but there's not as much flair. It's just a straight pull into a solid foot. And on that foot, I have my clip that goes directly onto it, so I don't have to put a biking
Right,
shoe on
right.
or anything. And then my biking leg is a little bit taller than this leg and that leg, and the angles are a little bit different. So just because of the way your knee comes up, there's just a different dynamic, and to be as symmetrical as you can, running and biking and walking is what's so important. And if it's not perfect, you're going to end up with hip and back issues.
Wow.
So it's just. Yeah, it's another aspect of
Is
life.
there such a thing as an electronic leg?
There are electronic ankles.
Do you have one of
I've
those?
tried them.
enough
I've
to use.
I've tried one. It's pretty cool, but I'm just so this is so much lighter and easier, and I don't have to charge it, and I don't
What does
need
that mean, charge it?
like if you have an electronic
Oh, you gotta
ankle,
charge it.
or
Yeah.
like I have my own knee, but there are guys with knees. You have to charge your knee like a cell phone. You gotta
Oh.
charge your ankle like a cell phone, which is fine. When you go to sleep, you just put it on the charger. But with that right now, there's a little bit more weight, and maybe I just haven't found the right one. I just like what I'm in, and I have tried a lot of different legs, and the one that I wear now is I'm able to be active, run around with the kids, and yeah.
Do people call you the Bionic Man? I bet you get that a lot. You
I
that a
get
lot?
a little bit, but I honestly almost daily that a little kid will see me, and I love wearing shorts because it's easier and it's more comfortable. And a kid, I'll just hear it. It's like, that guy has a robot leg. And sometimes the parent is like, oh, you can't say that. And I'm like, no, it's cool. Come here. I'll take it off. Like, here, check this out. I love it. I maybe don't do that to everyone, but for me, like, I love explaining what it's like, and that, hey, even though I have a different looking leg, like, I could still do everything. I could still run and jump, and I'm proud of it.
Going along that same thought, is there anything you can't do, Eric? It looks like you've accomplished everything you've set your mind out to do.
Well, I think, there's plenty that I can't do well, but I have found that since I lost my leg, like, I can do everything I used to be able to do, but sometimes I have to get a little bit more creative, like, using different legs, or, if I'm skiing, I have to make sure.
You ski?
Not a lot, but like, this is, you try things.
You have a ski leg?
No, but I have, the first time, like, I went skiing because Lupe wanted to go skiing. He's like, can you ski? I'm like, I don't know, we're gonna go try. And I realized I couldn't get my foot into the boot, so I got like a size 13 boot, and we got it in. And then the first time I was on the lift, I felt my leg falling off. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be bad. My leg's gonna fall off and hit someone. So if I go, I have to make sure I wear a very tight
'cause it's heavy.
sleeve to keep it on. And yeah, but it's things that you figure out.
Eric, what happened after the injury? Did the military do anything for you or reward you for your service?
Yeah, I think my big reward from the service is just the years that I was in it, and I learned the discipline, and I've met some amazing people, worked with the best. But I was given a Purple Heart, and that's it's a medal that you don't necessarily want when you go overseas, but when you're injured in combat, you're awarded a Purple Heart. So that was a pretty memorable day when they pinned that on me.
What does a Purple Heart mean? What does it signify?
It's kind of like a red badge of courage almost, where it's, you know, I rose up my hand and went over to defend our country and spilled some blood on foreign land, and you know, it was because I love this country. So yeah, when I do wear my dress blues and that's dangling off me, like I'm proud of it.
Who is the Purple Heart awarded to? People that die in service or give of themselves for others?
Men and women who are injured during combat, so injured or killed. So if you're killed in the line of duty, then you have Purple Heart.
Eric, would you say it's safe to say that that is the highest award given to someone in the military, the Purple Heart?
No.
No, what is?
I mean, well, the Medal of Honor is, and that's one thing. Like, I have, I don't know, the Purple Heart. It's just different. The Medal of Honor is for doing something way above and beyond the call of duty. That takes this level of courage. So that's when you see someone get a Medal of Honor, it's the president putting it around their neck, and those are the men and women that we should be telling our kids about. And it's like, look at what these men and women did to save someone else or to save these men. It's pretty inspiring.
You're pretty inspiring. And where's this Purple Heart now?
I think it's probably hanging off my uniform.
Right.
I have my uniform put together, my dress blues, because November 10th rolls around every year. That's a Marine Corps birthday, and that's where we put on our blues and we go have some cake and drink some adult beverages and you know, remember why we're doing it and why we've done it.
Eric, is there anything that you'd like to leave the viewers at home with a message?
Yeah, I had a student ask me once, because I get to speak. I travel around and speak motivationally, and I was at a school, and a high school student asked me, if you can go back to the day you were injured, what would you change? And I remember, you know, at first I'm like, well, I probably wouldn't step right there, you know. But I realized, you know, that's not the answer. Like, when I think about it, I wouldn't change anything. First off, like, you can't change the past, so why dwell on it? And second, like, the journey that I've been on has been amazing. Like, I wouldn't want to change that. I don't want to go through the pain again. Like, it was hard, but I learned a lot about myself, what my priorities are. I realized when I thought I might be dying, two thoughts went through my head. You know, I thought about going to heaven, and I thought about my wife and my daughter, my faith and my family, and those are my priorities. And I had to ask myself, am I living according to my priorities? And you know, I had to make some rudder steers and get on track, but what are your priorities, and are you living according to your priorities?
Eric, you are an extremely inspirational person. Bethel Park TV, it's been truly a privilege to get to talk to him today and to hear his stories. I thank you so much for sharing everything that you did with us today. If I may salute you, thank you for your service.
You're welcome. Thank you.